I'll go ahead and share this link in a few places. So, all right. So, Todd, I've got a bunch of panels and electronics that I'm building. So this is for the Han and Carbonite prop. So it's a full-size replica of Han Solo frozen in Carbonite, and I make kits and all the parts you need to build a full-size replica. Um, the part that we're working on today are these hero panels. So these are like on the side of Han and Carbonite. So there's 8 panels, like 4 down the left side, 4 down the right side, and each one is different. And they all use like the base part of a dashboard panel. So this is from an old Volvo, like a real car. And you can see like the tank, temp. And these I've injection molded. I made them the same way as the original parts were made. But just like the part that we need is viewed from this side. So we have these parts, and then there's all sorts of greeblies, little bits and bobs that get attached and glued and screwed to this side. And I've made all those parts, and people buy them all the time and like build their own Han and Carbonite. But I've started selling complete finished ones, not of the full 8, but just like the hardest one to build, which is the hero panel, number 1, the one that's like right by Han's left ear. So a finished one looks like this, and it lights up. It's got these metal handles, a button on the side, and the knobs, and electronics on the back. So this is a circuit board that I have designed that runs all of the sequences and configurations to blink the exact right way. So these 4 panels will blink, and then these 7 lights here will blink. There's a little green light here and a big one here. And then this connects to the second panel, panel number 2, and there's 8 more lights down there. So what I've done is made it easy for people to build this, but this part, like the hero panel part, has one particular spot that's difficult, and I want to show you what I'm doing for that. So let me mount the camera up here. So give me a sec. I think that's good. Let me redo this. Okay, so we've got the hero panel here, and there are 3 holes that need to be drilled into the prop. 2 are about here for the knobs to come through, and the third is the side greebly. So I've already marked the exact spot. And the reason we need an exact spot is this is the control board, and it goes in like this. And the 7 lights, like these LEDs, will pop through this window. These line up right here. But I have this little side switch that sticks right through the side, and you have to drill a hole for that. And it's kind of hard to like mark where it's supposed to be exactly, and I need it to line up right. So in the past I was just estimating, and I've made 2 ways to measure accurately now. The first one I've made is this drill guide, and it's what I use. It is easy for me. The second way is just with measurements. So this is like 11 by 19, but to get it right at the spot, I'm like putting this card like up against the edge here, and then putting this tip corner here right against the edge there. So when you do that, it lines up, and I take a little Sharpie and mark a dot, and that's where I'm going to drill. The other way to do it is, because like you can make your own card like this, and you just have the right angle corner, and then mark a hole 19 by 11. and then line it up at the angle like that so it just fits there. So that is one way. And the other way, if you're going to use calipers, the problem is like this is a funny angle and then rounded side, so I don't have a good registration mark. So that's why I'm putting it at an angle and like lining up to the tip there. But the other way is it's 14 millimeters up from this edge, and that's like a perpendicular thing. And this is the lip here, not the front face, but like the raised lip. So if you make a mark that's 14 millimeters up, and then using that edge, we're going to go down 10. You line it up there, and that's 10 where it's supposed to be. There's 10, and that's where it's lined up. So either you go down 10 and then up 14 from this edge, or use this drill guide. I like the drill guide because it's just like I can line it up and place it. So the next step for this hole is I think this is an 1/8 inch, like a little drill bit, and I'm just lining it up with that pre-made spot, the pre-marked spot, and making a pilot hole. And then I'll go back there with a larger bit. So I think this one's 1/8 inch, and then this one is like we're gonna cover over the hole with this side greebly. So we can't. We have some space. So this drill bit is 27/64. You can get a little bigger than that, not too much bigger, but yeah, because you want to be able to cover the hole over with this side greebly. So that is that drill bit, and then the other one is the holes that we'll do here. So we'll do pilot holes for that as well. And this has like a built-in drill guide because you can use the metal grate that I supply. And this is like an older one, so I think these are like slightly shifted on the actual prop the other way. But I'm just like we have some wiggle room, so it is fine to be able to mount it that way. Yeah, you can't see on the final prop, but I'm just offsetting down a little bit on this one, so I'm slightly below center. And on this one, I'm slightly above center. And that will effectively make it the same. So we've got those two pre-drilled spots there, and then the third one on the side. So let's go ahead and switch to the larger bit. Now we can go using our pilot holes. It is awkward to do at this angle, because usually I'm doing it straight down. So yeah, if you're doing it in this inside, I'd like put it vertically, and then the last ones I did like right over the trash can. But you have like that vertical extra strength. So we are through there. We can clean up the burrs. If you have like a deburring tool handy, you just go around that and it'll clean up the burrs. I think I don't have that here. I think it's at my shop. So you can just use like snips or something to clean this up. But it's going to be hidden by the greebly anyway. So now if you check this out, it's going to be a little low because we don't have the lenses in, but it's dead on center there. So that is what we're looking for. This is the lens piece. So it's a piece of acrylic with all 7 of the lenses. So that gets mounted there. And that's going to offset us like up in the vertical direction a few millimeters. So now when that's installed, we should be very close to the center. So pretty close. Yeah, maybe we're off by a millimeter or 2, but it is plenty good to be centered there. I think that drill guide, we have some play. Well, I'm happy with that. The next thing we're going to do is drill the 2 spots for the knobs. I'm using the same size drill bit. And then this one you should also clean up. You can deburr if you've got the burring tool or just snips handy. But this too will be covered. You've got the grill on top of it and then a washer and then the knobs. So you won't see this anyway. Then we can glue this in place. We've got the decal window that we're putting together looks like this, but let's get some from scratch. So I've got decal here. And where did I put? So these are the parts for the window. They're made from kind of acrylic that lets light go through easily. So this one will just peel, nothing special. And this goes for this window. So that will get glued there, this will get glued here. And then for these, we got to put on the decal before we glue it. So this is, like, it goes one way and not the other. There's a rounded corner here. So it goes like that. You can peel off the paper from both sides though, but make sure you're putting the decal on the correct side. So that's this side because it goes in this way. It'll snap like that. So we want to put the decal on this side. Here's the decal, and I've seen some people make this mistake, so I want to show you how this decal works. There's a transfer side and the backing. Um, and then this side is the cutout side, where there's not a notch. It doesn't really matter, but it'll make a small difference. So we're going to peel this off. And I'm lining it up where the bottom of the tips of the cream color are hitting the bottom edge of this. And then this mark is right in the center of the notch cutout. It touches it right there. That looks right. So I'll place it down. And you don't have to worry about the air bubbles. Like, it's not what we're doing. Because this is a special kind of decal that has a transfer side. So you're not doing like the mist water thing and credit card scrape. I'm just pressing down on the grid lines. And then I'll carefully peel up the top layer, making sure that I don't peel the grid lines off with me. So I'll start here. And as I get to the corner, I'm just like pressing down to make sure it detaches and sticks to the white plastic instead of the clear plastic. So that one came up with it, so I'm going back and pressing. Once you get halfway, you're no longer pulling like against the angle. You're kind of pulling with it. So once we're here, then they're just going to stay down. We've got 2 middle spots, but aside from that, it's a lot easier to pull it off without them coming up at the edges. Okay, so this is ready to go. And this gets glued in here. So we can look at it from the front side. That'll fit there, that fits there. This one will be here. Let's do another one of those just so you can see it again. I need more anyway. So this will be in like the decal pack. So we'll double check we need it on this side. I'm looking at the curved corners, and the cutout in here is curved on these sides and square on these sides. Lining that up at the bottom edge. And just pressing down on the grid lines, especially at the edges. And then we're going to remove the transfer. So this is a still yet to be identified part. Like, nobody knows if this was created from scratch for the film or if it was a found part where it was like a screen from an old oscilloscope or some kind of scanner or display. No one has identified it yet. lost a little piece here, so I'm like going back and pressing it back down to get the transfer to work. There's a tiny little piece here. If I can get it to come off, fine. I don't know. It's really small. But I think that's at the edge and it's going to be covered anyway. Yeah, you can't see it, so it is covered. So I'm fine with that, even though it's missing a piece. It's also Star Wars, and nothing is perfect in there. It's always messy, and it is fine to not be, like, pristine. Things should be, like, messed up and dirty a little bit anyway. Okay, so we've done more of these grills. Let me do another... Yeah, so this one I've pre-drilled here, but I didn't drill the holes for this one like I did for this. So let's use the metal guide again. And we'll drop back down to a smaller bit for a pilot hole. So this is 1/8 inch, and the other one was 27/64. I'm lining the metal part up with the window, and I have the flat edge down here and the, like, look at this, there's little teeny bumps here and really smooth side here. So the bump side goes up, like, towards these windows. And as I said before, these holes are, like, shifted wrongly. Like, you could have it this way and then the holes are right, but the bumps are on the wrong side. So we want it this way, but I'm gonna, like, cheat the pocket, like in pool. So I'm not hitting right in the center, we're going down slightly here and up slightly here. And we'll be able to use that play to make it appear right. Okay, so we've got those pilot holes. And then this is where the knobs are going to go in, so we'll do that shortly too. And the knobs are what we can use to select the sequences. I think I have like 7 sequences programmed in. But yeah, definitely do pilot holes. Pilot holes make it much easier. You can get it aligned how you want. It's aligned how you want, and it's much easier to keep centered when you start drilling. And you get the hole exactly where you want. Deburring tool is the best here. It's like a little blade that can rotate, and you like just stick it in and swirl it around. And I have one, but it is at my shop. I'm at my home shop today. So these holes will be covered by the washers. I'll show you how that works. And we'll put the grill metal grate back on top. These will come like this. I'll probably have washers attached, the washer and nut attached for you already. That's how I have been shipping them. So we need 2 washers, 2 nuts. And when you get it, I'm usually like, you know, just for shipping simplicity purposes, I'll have these on here already attached like that, so I can keep, so you don't lose it. So it'll be on there, so you'll take these off of both. And it doesn't matter which one, these are identical. And this little tab here gets in the way. So this is like a mounting tab that you can press in a hole or something. But for our purposes, we want to either break it off or just fold it straight out. So I typically just grab it with pliers, carefully bend it. You might poke your fingers here. But I just bend it straight out. You can snip it off too if you want. It might be easier if it's snipped off for the next step. Sometimes it's in the way. So we're doing that. We're sliding these through the holes. That little tab will like catch on these notches sometimes. We'll flip it over, add the grate. So the bumps go that way. The bumps are facing that direction. And then we put a washer. And then a nut. So that's just hand tight, which is fine. And then I'm going to do the other one. My grate is there, and then we've got the washer, then the nut. Easy. I glued these on already before this video. I'll still glue these and show you that. But the next thing is we're going to take a board. I'm not going to use this one. So this is how things are plugged in. So I'll take off these knobs because they're already connected. We already installed them. But they just plug in here. And here's where the alignment matters. So we've got this little switch here. You want to take the end plugs and thread it through this big giant oval, and then it'll line up there, and all these LEDs will line up automatically with the holes there. It just clips in, and we are centered enough in our hole. I think I should add like two more millimeters to the. Got to move it that way a little bit because we're off center, but it is fine because we can still cover it. We're close enough. So I'm going to adjust the measurements to that drill gauge, I think. So that's here. Then to plug these in, you want them lined up. If you cross them, then the knobs won't do the exact same things in the movie. Like the sequences will be the same, but like Lando twists this one and Leia twists this one, and it does the Leia sequence. You don't want them switched because the Lando sequence would be triggered by the Leia knob and vice versa. So they're lined up that way. And this goes here and this goes here. You've got the big LED up top and the small LED down here. I've been shipping these with foam, like it acts as a diffuser. Here's a finished one. So this foam, it's just like tucked in, and it works really well. Like the LED's just in there, and all of the light diffuses and spreads out, and it just looks exactly how you'd expect. So I'll send this to you too. So that gets tucked in there. This gets tucked in here. The next thing we've got is the panel 2 LEDs. So those will look like this, and it's these eight LEDs. You can like adjust these to line them up if they're misaligned. And then this plug just pops in up here. But you've got to like thread this through the second hole, because this is panel 1. You're going to have panel 2 like, you know, next to it. So if you imagine this is panel 2, you put this here when you mount it, and then this is going to go inside Han and then back out to the back of panel 2 to plug in there. So that will be like that. And then we're using this microcontroller, so it will be plugged in here already, pre-programmed. And this plugs here. If you are just using this panel for panel 2 and these lights, then I recommend using power from this. If you are using like a future expansion thing for like panel 5, where you're doing like an alternate panel 5 and attaching an LED strip, and this is like ground, data, and 5 volt from top to bottom here. Ground, data, 5 volt, ground, data, 5 volt. If you're using this, then I wouldn't power it from USB. It's not enough power. So you can power it from these ports, or use the AC plug that's here. But I don't know. I'm not so confident with it. I have it working, so it does work. I think using this plug doesn't have the same regulating stuff that using this plug does. So I'm not totally sure why. But powering it from this is like always working. So let's plug it in, see where we're at. So I've just got, it's a regular power plug. This one has 5 or 4. Yeah, 4. Just because it's making it easier when I'm working on multiple things. But it's a normal standard like USB-A on one side, plugging to regular USB-A port, and then USB-C on this side. This cable like has orange to let you know only one is data, so I use that for programming the microcontroller. But you can use any of them for power. So we will plug this in, and you can see panel 2 here is lit up. You can see the big green light and little light are blinking. And then we will flip this over so you can see the front side. And I always use a test with like the side greebly, because that puts us into like space disco mode. It's just like a random sequence that I made. And that's kind of like a test mode, but also you can like press it to give some extra you know, pizzazz. And if you do have an LED strip plugged in right now, not from a power pack, but like using the USB, using 5 volt power, not running it all through the board. The reason I'm saying all through the board, it's like you don't want to send all the power to run an LED strip with like 100 LEDs through the microcontroller. It'll overload the microcontroller. So if you do have this power plugged in through the AC jack or through the 5 volt terminals, and you have the LED strip plugged in there, then the space disco mode will like do a rainbow pattern on the LED strip when you do the side greebly. So here we can like turn these knobs, and there's different settings for the different sequences. There's like, I think when Lando comes, it's like this, and then it turns to that when Lando checks on the settings. And then I think this is when it's coming out of Carbonite. I don't remember which is which. But, and then over here is like the thaw sequences. So like it starts slow and then blinks faster. I think this is like the slower one. And this is the thaw one where it starts slow and then goes faster. Um, cool. So this one's almost done. I skipped some steps of when I glued these in. So let me show. Oh, there's that, and then these should be painted. So these are a dark blue. So I have mixed up a color that is pretty close. So let me unplug power for now. So I haven't glued this board in. It's just being held in by the pressure from the lens caps that are plugged in here, like these 7 lens caps. But I will typically put like a bead of hot glue here and here and here just to kind of hold it in place. Sometimes that pops off if it gets like jostled around too much. You can use a stronger adhesive if you want, but the hot glue has been good enough for most applications here. So let's see what's next. We've got these little side greeblies we can put on. I want to paint the front, and I want to show you the glue. So to paint, I'm just going to pop the board back out. So I mixed up this color at the paint store, like at Lowe's. It's called Nightfall, and it's very, very close to this blue. If you buy a completed board, I can't remember, but I think I'm shipping these painted anyway, so you don't have to worry about this part. Yeah, when I sell the electronics boards, it's already painted, but I have mixed this color to make it as close to the blue that's on here as possible when it dries. It's different than this. So I'm just going over the big resistors here, these big transistors here, these 2 shift registers here, and that way it matches what's seen on screen. So you have to hit these, and then these guys here. These are actual functioning resistors, like electricity is going through these guys to make the lights the right brightness and everything. Oh, and let's do a few of them since I've got the paint out. And this is just aesthetic. It's just because what you see on screen is also like a dark blue. It doesn't look black. And if you notice, I'm using the space here for a resistor and here, ones that I need, and inside here. So those are used but not seen on screen, but I cover it over. So I'll show you that greebly that I'm using for that. Let's go ahead and paint a few more of these boards. Do them all at once. one more here. All right, I will go wash off this paintbrush and be right back. All right, so while these are drying, it'll only take a few minutes. But I can show you what's covering these 7-segment displays. So I've made these custom, I don't know, caps for them to match the real 7-segment displays that they actually used. They actually used like 160 volt Nixie tube displays for this, which are not made anymore and are, you know, difficult to power because you need that power source, and they are expensive. So I've done a pretty good job at making a copy of that. So this is a 3D printed part that covers it. It's got these openings here on the back that fit the spacing here. So those just get kind of pressed in place. I don't know, if you look real closely, these might be silver on screen, so you can paint those if you want, but I'm not really sure. It's like they're the exposed metal. And those just are press fit on there. Like I'm just pushing it in, and it doesn't need any glue. It'll just hold in place there. And they go this way where like this little notch cut out is where the dot is. Every once in a while I'm soldering, like the soldering iron will touch the edge of this and it like melts it, and it doesn't ruin it, but it, you know, it doesn't look nice. But it doesn't really matter because we're covering it over with this. So I try not to damage it. Here's one where I did. You can see like this little edge got nicked by the soldering iron. But when you use the cover, it just, you know, totally blocks it. Covers that up. So I'm gonna put the electronics aside. They dry quick, like you can see here, the wet spots that are left. But I'll put these caps on and then switch over to gluing our, well, we got a lot to do. We've got some decals, and we've got the T greeblies, and we've got, what else? The small tubes, we're calling them, these little yeah, this one's pretty close to done. So we have to drill the hole slightly larger for these handles, because the handle gets like slotted in there, and that's an 1/8 inch drill bit. So you use the 1/8 inch drill bit and it'll slot right in, hold it pretty nice. Sometimes it stays with no glue. Sometimes I'll add just a little drop of contact adhesive. Um, we've got T greeblies that get glued on here, and then these decals, and then the cups, the small tubes, these little guys. So we'll do those together, and also I'll glue in the windows to show you that. But let me first finish these caps. The 7-segment display frames, display covers I call them. I think that's all of them. One more. So I've been doing these in batches of like usually 6 or 7 or 8, something like that. Because I'll take a pack of the 8 panels and then build a full set of 8 hero panels. But yeah, sometimes they go in batches. So I like might not have all of the parts like for the knobs. Like I'll order, 20 of these knobs at a time, so it's enough for 10 sets, and I'll go and I'll make a bunch, and I have like a box full of them like this, and I'll like run out and then order more and then assemble them. So it's usually I get like 6 or 7 done. So sometimes if you're ordering and you get it, like I'll have them in stock and you order quick and then it might ship the next day because I had it ready to go. Or sometimes you ordered and you were like the 9th person after I just finished a batch of 8. So you have to wait for the next batch. So that might take a week or so depending on, where I'm at in the process. But it is always between like 0 day, like next day or 2 weeks for the completed hero panel. All of the other stuff is in stock, but sometimes you order a completed panel plus other stuff. Like I won't ship all the things until your order's ready. Let's see. And then the box kits ship separately because they're larger and I don't keep them in my warehouse. So those get shipped right from the factory. So that's why sometimes you'll receive like a box kit separate from anything else you order. But otherwise, everything comes together. All right, let's see. So I'm gonna shift over to, what did I say? Like decals and front parts and gluing, and so let's put all of the electronics aside. So this is a panel that needs everything. So I'm gonna slightly put it together for now. I'll put the electronics for these away. We'll work on these 2 together, and then this one also needs T greeblies still. Alright, so we've got 1, 2, 3. We'll kind of do these together. I'm going to switch to an 1/8 inch bit to do a bit more drilling, and this should be quick and easy because we have pilot holes built into the model. Like these are part of the mold already. And it's just those 2 and those 2. I do know that like I've seen these like drilled out and plugged in some of the reference photos, so if you want to do that, you can. You can just go back and like drill these holes larger and then plug them. It seemed like we don't know because we don't know what the prop makers did, but it seems like they drilled it bigger for one reason or another and then plugged it back with sawdust or something. So I'm sending this all the way through, using this pilot hole. And I want to make sure I'm going straight down because this is like the orientation of where the handles are coming out. So this one has the board in it, and I don't want to drill right now. So I'm going to pop this off, kind of move it out of the way. You probably should do this before painting, but it doesn't really make a difference because the hole is getting covered by the handle. But if I were doing it from scratch completely, I would drill all the holes before painting. Okay, so that's all those. We can put the handles on now. Handles will come in bags like this, and these are also custom. They're like machined, made from scratch, machined, and then bent over a jig to get the shape and size exact what we want. It's like impossible to find handles that are this exact size. I can't remember. It's like 3.75, 2.75. The spacing. Yeah, 2.75 approximately. So I don't know. There's like a bunch of 3-inch handles. I couldn't find them. 2.5-inch handles. There's not 2.75-inch that look like this. So they're custom made. So that's like that. It is holding. You can glue it in if you want. Sometimes I glue it in if it's too loose, but this one seems fine. To glue it in, I would just put like a little dot of E6000 here and then push it in the hole and it'll permanently attach it. And then you have to clean up the, the overspill, seepage, whatever. That's in there. Can put this back on. So we've got handles. I'll put this aside. Do it again for this one. And 4. Okay, let's glue some stuff. I'm gonna do we need these little guys. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. go. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where they go. I'm shifting this grate to the right a bit, or to down. That way's down, I think, for you. I have my camera mounted, tilted. All right, so these 4 guys. We also need this greebly for the side. So let's pop 2 of those off. I think this has already. It still needs. Well, we'll use 3 of those. 3 of these. I had one sitting out. I'll probably find it in a moment. All right, I've got 3 of those. We've got decals. We've got tees. I don't like this one. So we need 3 of these per panel. I'm doing these 3 right now, so we need 9. Okay. And then we'll glue in one here, and then we need this window. All right, so I'm gonna start with that and flip this over, and we'll glue in big window here and a little one here. I had it out, looking for my glue. It's not in here, which means I did not put it away, so it is on my desk. We also need these knobs, so we'll do that too. All right, here's some glue. So I'm using some E6000, which is too old. So it is not runny. It's probably not as effective as full strength, like brand new, but it is easier to apply, and it is strong enough to keep this window in place for our purposes. I'd love to use epoxy, but I don't know, it's messy. And like I have a brand new tube of this, but it's like, it's very runny. So this does the job. So I'm applying it in the crack, like the bezel behind the window. I'm trying to keep it away from the edge, so when I do press down the window, it doesn't like ooze out. If it oozes out, then we see it on the front and it looks messy. Which again, it's kind of fine because it's Star Wars, but I kind of like doing like the intentional weathering. Um, that being said, when I'm shipping these panels, I don't do like when I build it for you. I'm not doing. Letting you do it how you want. So the paint job is not like pristine, perfect uniform everywhere. Like I'm spraying it with the nickel aluminum, I think it's called, or Rust-Oleum satin aluminum. I can't remember. I'm spraying it with that, and I'm not doing a perfect job intentionally, so it does look, so some of the black shines through. I don't know. Looks pretty good here. You can see it on this one, where it's like in here, it's not perfect. It kind of looks like there's some dirt in there. Like here. So I've put this all the way around, and that goes on. There's like a little bit of seepage there, so we can scratch it out, scrape it off. Okay, then we'll do the same thing for this window. It's these guys. So again, I'm applying it to the edge around the opening. I just usually for this one do like 3 sides, because coming down here is where the knobs are sticking through, the rotary encoder knobs. So I don't know. I don't want to get too close to that with the glue. I don't think it would cause any problems, but just to keep it clean. Wow, we've been going for an hour. Look at that. Okay, so this is gonna pop in here. So these cups go with the wider side up. I'm just kind of dipping it in here and like trying to minimize what's on there so I don't get too much seepage. So it's just kind of in the middle. And it goes in these 4 circles. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I would recommend putting these on before gluing these details. So I'm gonna stop. Well, I'll do one more because we've done three, but I think the grill should go on. The grill and knob should go on before. These are more delicate. I'll cap this and put it on the soldering iron fan. So your grill comes like this. The bumpy side goes towards the two small windows, and the straight long side goes towards the straight side. I think it might be flipped in Return of the Jedi. There's several differences. And also the reference material is like different depending on when the photo was taken. Because it was like on tour a couple different times, and like the original prop was on tour a couple different times, and like, you know, you never really know exactly how it was on screen because you can't see the panels up close on screen. So we're kind of just matching what we know from reference material, but we have what we have. Okay, so this setup, I'm gonna remove the knobs from the board for now. Unplug those. These will, I'll bend the tabs again. So we're bending this tab here down so it can fit into the panel easy. You can break it off too, that is fine. It just can't be pointing up towards the front. Okay, so we've got those. I need nuts and bolts, nuts and washers for that. So they look like this. Put this in place. Flip over. Put a washer and a nut. This is hand tight for now. You might want to tighten it with pliers. Oh no. So this glue takes a while to cure, so it is not secured completely yet. I bumped it, so it popped out. Put it right back. Okay. So these guys, the short one goes here and the tall one goes here. I have machined these. I've been selling them for a while. My current batch. These are Mitchell knobs from a record player. They're like counterweights from the record player that a lot of parts from Star Wars are like sourced from. But you know, that record player is unavailable because it was made 100,000 years ago. So it is not available. These are replicas. They have like the knurled pattern on the side. I have them different heights because they're supposed to be different heights. I put a blue decal here, and that goes on the outside one, so the shorter one with the blue dot goes here, and the taller one goes here. I have made a mistake machining these, and my depths are the same. So like, when you put them on, they both drop down and then are the same height again. So I should have machined this hole less deep, more shallow. So when you put the taller one on the taller one, it actually stands taller. To remedy this, I am just mounting it higher up, how it should be, but I have to manually do it. And to do that, you're using these, they're called set screws, little grub screws. They're like down here. So put them on this side, facing this way, like towards the long bar, because that's down when it's on the prop. It's like the hidden sides, you won't see them. And we use it says SD6, but I don't think it's actually a spline screw, but this is the right size and the one that I use. So I don't know. This is the screwdriver I use to grab them. So the right one, you just like press down, the short one, and then stick it in and tighten it. Yeah, this is probably like an M1.5 hex key, but I don't really know. You will figure it out. I don't know. And then this one is, well, I don't know. SD6 works, but I think it's M1.5. This one, instead of pushing it all the way down and tightening it, they raise it up a little so it mimics the, hey, that one's taller. So once I run out of these ones for my next batch, I will be making them the right way. But until then, oh, so I'm loose here because I think, yeah, I'm taking this back off. We should tighten them with pliers or a wrench or something. It's like this nut. Okay. Doing these two while I'm at it. Okay, so put these back on. Much better. And then a tall one. Not all the way down. Raise it up. So this is taller, this is short, this is shorter. What else we got? We'll do a little bit of glue. So when I have it. Just to show you the way that I'm doing this, so you'll get this kind of long strip of acrylic. You peel off the backing on both sides. lost the 7th one for now. But you check which way it goes. So it's the curved side on that way. So this is the front. And then it alternates red, white. Pressing these guys in from the front. And this is what gets glued on the back side. Blank panel. Drill your holes first, like your side greebly and then the 2 here. So you drill that and then you can glue this in here. And that's, they're all aligned for the electronics. Okay, so let's put on some T greeblies. These T sliders are from the UR 500 stereo mixer. So I have bought a few of those, and I have a handful of the real sliders. I've made silicone molds and resin copies. These are like got aluminum dust mixed in. So it looks very similar. So the way these go on, you have 3. 2 are like tip to tip here, and 1 sits here. Putting just a small amount. Spreading that around. So 1 goes right here. And then these 2 go up against this side almost completely with another one here. So it makes like a H. Oop. Makes like a H. Set that aside. This is how it pops in. This one still needs the small tubes, so we should glue those on as well. And then I think all that's left is the two decals on this. So there's like Hebrew letters that are on here. They go in here and here. Oh, and we have the side greebly. So this is an older one. I'll be making better ones. So it's got like the spring thing built in, but the post is too long and the hole is too small to grab onto the button, the little switch that's in the side. So I like cut a little hole, drill it a little bit bigger, split it so it stretches, but all this is inside, so you don't see any of it. And it goes in between this, so this covers it. This covers the hole that I drilled. Let's do three more T's for this. I kind of tilt them like this because it makes the angle less acute, more flat, parallel, so gravity doesn't like make greeblies slide. When the glue is thinner, that's more of an issue. When it's already thick like this because it's old, then they don't slide as much. But like tilting it makes it so gravity's not like acting on it sideways, forcing it to slide down. Okay, switched back to this one. So I gotta put the small tubes on. So on the alternate panel 5 that I'm not gonna say nobody ever builds, but it is pretty rare because it's like expensive. You have another hero panel, and you only see it on like a couple shots. You see it close up when like I think it's in the hallway. You see it a long shot when it's blinking in the hallway, and you just see the blinking green spot. But there's, I think it's another shot of Lando, and we got Lando's up close, and it's pretty different. So this grill, like when I sell them now, and you order like the pack of everything, you get this grill. And if you're building an alternate Hero Panel 5, you need this grill because it's like you see there's no knobs here, so you can see it all the way through. And I use this kind for everything because it's like, you can fit the knobs through, but if you're doing panel 5, you don't use knobs, you can't have these holes showing. So this is not included, but it's like if you're doing panel 5, you need this. You need, I think, 11 of these, and these are sold in 4-packs. You get like 12. So you can build your own kit if you're doing the alternate Hero Panel 5. But it's not done too often. But just letting you know that's what people do when they do it. Okay, and that's all the gluing except for the side greeblies. I'm not going to do the side greeblies right now. I need to mount the electronics permanently inside. Or semi-permanently, at least with hot glue. But I'm not going to be doing that when I just glued all this stuff. So I will do the decals here, like these ones that we see. I got to put them there and there and there and there. And then I think I have to wait for the glue to cure for all these before I like hot glue the electronics in. So maybe I should have done the electronics first. What did I say? Decals. Oh, so this is the same kind of special transfer decal where it's got a front layer and a back layer. I believe we're using this one and this one, not this one. This one's on panel 2. So we're using the 2 inside ones here, not that one. So here is a choice. Like, what you see on screen is you see these decals with the rectangle around them. So this is like a screen accurate versus screen idealized. And it's a personal choice. I don't know what's preferred. But what I'm talking about is like look up this reference image. I have all these reference images on my website, custom3dstuff.com. Custom 3D stuff. And in the Carbonite section, there's a pack called like Master Greeblies pack, and that is linked, and that has all of the reference images that I have assembled. In some of those reference images, you can see the decals, and this is what it looks like. But you also see like the sticker part, a rectangle around it. And here on this, like I just have the decal, not the sticker. I think the way these stickers worked before were the water slide ones, or maybe that rubbing kind. Probably the water slide ones where you'd like get it wet and cut it and slide the part out. So the framing was there on it. I think for this one, I'm gonna do it that way just to show you what I'm talking about. Whoever gets this panel, whoever's buying it at the end, can choose to remove it. But what I'm saying is I will be not removing the transfer paper on this one. Where are my tweezers? So see how they're like attached to the plastic here, the rectangle. So I'm gonna apply this decal and leave it on. So if you look close, you can see the frame around that rectangle, the frame around the letters. I've talked about this too much. I don't think anybody cares, but you do what you want. If you don't want that there, you can peel it back off. You can peel the rectangle off and the red letters will stay. know. Okay, so that is on there. And then we'll switch to the bottom one. Slide these up. Do the same thing. So if you don't like that, just peel it off. Peel off the clear rectangle that's around it. Okay, so that's 3 that are done, everything except for I need one more knob here and the side greeblies and mounting the electronics board. Um, I'll let that sit for a little bit. Can glue, like start on another one. I don't know. I'm probably gonna wrap up. It's been a while. I'll let these sit, but to show you what I'll be doing with these greeblies, the side greebly, so you have to cut it shorter than this for now, just until I run out of these last ones. But I have 2 different lengths of switches that are in there, so I'm gonna say for the let's try it like this for the shorter switch. Do that. It's filled with the powder from the 3D printing process. So we need to dig that out, and then I'm gonna slice up the side so it can stretch. I just made a cut like that. And I'm currently over the trash can getting this powder out. I stuck tweezers inside the trash can. It's a very fine powder, and I don't want it everywhere. But I'm just like digging out the powder that's inside. And the way it works is this goes through that. So it like sits like this. And this gets glued onto the tip of the switch inside. This is just me modifying what I currently have. The next batch that I make will have a hole that is larger. So this board's not glued in yet, so I don't want to actually mount it, but we'll be, yeah, I shouldn't be handling this. We just knocked off a small tube. So should be waiting for this to dry, but this goes in here and you then glue it on the switch that's in there, and then you can press. But you make sure you put it through the square greebly first. So you put that on there. Put that on there, and then put this through onto the switch. So you can glue this on if you want. You can leave it spinning if you want. But that's how it works. And it'll trigger the Space Disco, you know, fun pattern. All right, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that, just because these are drying. I don't want to knock off the other greeblies. If I had already hot glued the electronics board inside, then I would do the last step, which is putting the side greebly on. But aside from that, that is all. I hope this makes your build process easier. I feel like I did all of the steps on camera except for the side greebly. So maybe I'll do a different video for that. And I'm happy that you watched this, this far. If you do want to do this yourself, I have all of the parts available. If you buy the 8-core kit plus the electronics kit, you'll have everything you need for all of the panels, for everything you need for the panels. Get your own paint, but aside from your own glue, but aside from that, it's everything. The electronics come assembled. You just have to like glue it in there, attach the knobs yourself, but they'll be assembled and ready to go for you. Oh, there is something I didn't do. The big LED here, like that gets foam for the diffuser. I showed that earlier in the video. But the small LED gets stuck in this little hole here. And that will look like this. And you just like run it up the side, and then you can like bend this like that and hot glue it in or whatever. And this plugs into the circuit board. So that's the last thing. All right, yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you have an easy build.